Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Hour number 2 of the program begins right now. Danny Clinkscale joins us here in the program, proudly brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You know, they're online at eastonroofing.com. If you do that internet thing, they're there, eastonroofing.com. Whether it's your home, whether it's your business, Easton Roofing has you covered. Happy to help you out. Estimates, they're always free. Inspections, they're free as well. A lot of damage done this summer. If you're not sure about that roof, it's getting a little bit older, just looking at it going, I don't know. Well, when the freezing weather starts coming in, there could be big problems. Don't leave it to chance. Let Joe Spiker and his great team come over and check out your roof for you. Like I said, estimates always free. No payment collected until you are 100% satisfied. Easton Roofing, it is the best in the business, getting you back to life, getting you back to business faster. That's Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Danny?
Seren, how be you?
Good. No complaints. You know, it's Friday. My baseball team lost its closer and first baseman for the rest of their lives. No, the first baseman's done 6 to 8 weeks. I'm hearing a couple days on Urseg. I don't think they've made anything official yet, have they?
No, they just put out the, here's today's information, and it only said Pasquantino on the 10-day IL and Nick Lofton up. Didn't say anything else.
I think Urseg will probably be unavailable for a couple of days, but it looks like they avoided any kind of major injury there. But
it was notable that ESPN ran on their home page, the front page, it's MLB trade deadline winners and losers 1 month later by Bradford Doolittle, and the picture is Salvador Perez shaking hands with Lucas Ursek, and I'm like, that's tenuous at the moment, and maybe not so much. But
well, I mean, Lucas Ursek is being considered the best acquisition that anybody made.
Yep.
At this trade deadline. Now, I'm a little curious. I understand the whole. We want to use them in high leverage situations, but just eyeballing it, or just like my memory makes me think that they hadn't really worked that much.
Right. I mean, this worked, and
yesterday.
You mean Urseg? You mean?
Did not work yesterday.
Well.
He threw the ball into the outfield, and they lost the lead.
Right. I'm just saying he hasn't been hit hard. It hasn't been successful the last couple of games, but it's been a lot of misfortune, I think. So.
And I'm fine with that, but like if misfortune keeps happening, then it's like one, he did fine in the 7th, and then they blew it in the 8th and 9th. We wanted to get him for the top. Okay, but somebody's still got to get the rest of the outs. Like,
I see. I understand what you're saying. Yes, I think that that was covered over the first couple of times they did it because the Royals scored a bunch of runs before the last inning or two came around. They scored more runs, so it didn't matter. But yes, we're in lockstep on this. I think the 9th inning's different, and yes, it's nice to have a position where in the 7th inning, the top of their team, the other team's order is coming to the plate. And yeah, it makes sense, but that makes sense if you have sort of a closer and a super strong 8th inning guy.
Or you were like the Rays, and you have 3 or 4 guys that are all good enough to be solid closers. I'm not saying they're all Wade Davis, but they had Jose Alvarado, and they'd have all these different guys, and you could be like, okay, and any one of these guys could be the guy. Urseg is the right guy for the 7th, but he's also the right guy for the 9th. That's an issue. And I just think that I understand, well, this is the game right here. Well, it's not. I mean,
right.
It's the most important part in the game so far, but you can't conclusively know it's the game because there's still 6 outs after the 7th inning to get. You've still got 6 more outs to swing the bat, and that's why the 9th inning becomes different, because then it is the game. That is the only time we know that this is it right here.
Right. You do your job, game's over, you win. So, yes, we agree on this. It's nice to have the luxury of maybe having two guys who are close to each other in ability, and one guy's just a slight tick ahead in your idea of the fact that he should be the closer. But when a team has a reliable and very good eighth-inning guy, if they wanted to flip-flop him or whatever because they thought that the other guy is approaching a portion of the order that's better for him to pitch to, that's great. But not if the rest of your guys are vulnerable, and the rest of the guys have been vulnerable.
They're not 1, 2, 3 guys. So if the idea is, well, we want 1, 2, 3 to be handled, like they're not three out, 3 up, 3 down guys.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, well, I want them to get 1, 2, 3 so we don't have to see them again. Well, who in that bullpen do you go, yeah, they're going to go 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, and we're not going to, like, you're more like, it's going to take 5 bat. Like, you're going to bring in Angel Zerpa. We know it might take 8 guys to get 8 batters to get to 3 outs.
He's going to work. He's going to walk somebody in all likelihood.
Yes.
Probably with 2 strikes.
And
that's what the Royals do.
So it still is an issue for them. They have solved the issue of having a fine reliever to bring in at any point. That was a great deal, and they didn't have any of that. And they could have, since the time that Urseg has gotten here, they theoretically could have lost 3 or 4 more games. And that would be a big deal right now because they still have a good leeway in the wild card. I fear the rest of this weekend, but they put themselves in such a good position that, even... And then they won the first 3 games of the series against the Guardians. So it's still good times right now. But, I mean, Pasquantino was great for the last couple of months. And he's not going to be there. And when you're calling up Nick Lofton to replace him, and maybe Nick Prado's going to play there, or who knows what they're going to do. I don't know. Salvador Perez is probably going to play first, I would think, most of the time now.
But you're not going to bat 8, right? So.
But, you're losing a left-hand batter also, in addition to a good left-hand batter. So, adversity is staring them in the face. They haven't really had a lot of it. They've been a healthy team. Their acquisitions have worked well. Bobby Witt has blossomed into the second-best player in baseball. And so a lot of things have gone right this year. Well, now something's gone badly wrong, and they're going to have to overcome it. But they gave themselves some leeway with great play after the All-Star break. So I'm still feeling good about their playoff prospects. I hadn't gotten to the point where I ever had thought they were going to... I would have said at that point in time... they're going to win the division. Even after the first 3 against the Guardians, I wasn't ready to say that. But their ESPN projection went all the way up to 92%. I don't know what it is after the last couple of losses, but I can look it up real fast. But it was 92.7, I think, the other day. So in my mind, it's 90% still. It's 5.5 games. It's a lot.
It is a lot as we're getting late. I still feel good, but I even more so, it's not because of the Royals. It's because the Red Sox suck.
Right. At the exact proper time for the Royals, the Red Sox kind of fell in their face. They'd played well for a while, including against the Royals, and they picked a bad time to create space between them and the wild card spot by not playing very well, much of it at home. Now, much of the year, the Red Sox have been a better road team than a home team, which is unusual in Boston Red Sox annals, but when you look at the Red Sox team, you can understand it. So, yeah, I think things are still good. But this was a team that threw 55, 60% of the year, 3 or 4 times a week was good for a 2-run or less game. Then they stopped doing that. Do they return because they don't have Pasquantino in there? And right now, you can definitely see signs of fatigue from the starters. And I, sure. I directly asked Seth Lugo about that. And, I don't think he was going to say, yeah, my arm's dragging. But he asserted, boldly, I feel 100%. I feel great, whatever, last Sunday. So, but I think the results and their performance shows that this is an issue. And they're all in uncharted territory. And Lugo's way in uncharted territory. So, I mean, he's getting close to 200 innings. So, I mean, there's still challenges. It's not 2 lengths. It's not just 2 furlongs to the finish line here for the horse. They've still got to do some work.
I'm trying to think if it isn't something you could run into a search engine, but a team in the hunt for the postseason losing its leading RBI guy with 27 games to play, 35, just over 30 games to play. That there aren't many teams, I think, who've probably had that kind of a blow to them this late in the year.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But
well, I mean, do you agree with Curtis? It's the most damaging day in the history of Kansas City sports.
Yeah, for a single play, certainly, or a single moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, most damaging play. That's a better way to put it.
Right. Yeah, I can't think of anything like that. There's probably been 2 guys collided and missed time. What didn't
Gordon and Moustakis?
Gordon and Moustakis ran each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And someone tried to compare it with Grimsley and Harvey. I'm like, stop it. Get out of here. That team was barreling toward 100 losses. That wouldn't happen. And those guys aren't these guys.
All you have to do is say the 2 names.
Yeah, that's right.
Grimsley and Harvey.
Yes,
Who?
Yes, they were. It was a pitcher and a first baseman, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah, this is just where this team is, and like the way I pointed out is like I was just ready to go. Like, yep, we're going to the playoffs. I just arrived there, and then I arrived there about the time Bobby Witt got hit on the hand, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Survived that, and it's like, oh, okay, and then it's like, nope, there goes Pascantino. So, do you agree with me that he should be a DH? Ideally, they should be finding a guy who can,
He'd gotten better this year. His defensive
better.
metrics are better. I'm not somebody who necessarily, unless it's just glaringly staring you in the face, that likes having an everyday DH. I like the flexibility of moving it around a little bit, but he's not an asset. These 2 injury, now it's at a point where you're like, oh, he's injury prone. Well, they weren't like, a muscle pull here.
Well, like Mondesi type injuries,
right.
but
right.
They've been incidents.
Right.
So, he
has a calcium deficiency.
He could well run off several seasons without injuries. I'm not ready to put him in that category, but here he is. Significant time lost at the end of a season, 2 consecutive years. You just feel bad for him in the first place.
I definitely feel bad for him, and my point is that like really instinctive first basemen don't reach into the base path.
Yeah, I guess.
And it seems like when I go out there on Tuesday, every night I'm at the ball yard, there's a ground ball hit to him that he should come up with and doesn't.
There's no doubt he's no Gold Glover over there, but he has gotten better, and he's
gotten better, and I'm fine when he's out there, but and it's fine if he's back there next year, but I just think that like along the way, if you can put him at DH. It's okay, and I know they don't want to do that because the Rays don't. They like that DH to be giving a guy a half day off,
right?
And all that kind of stuff.
And I do too.
I do too. So then trade somebody.
Right.
Like you have 2 catchers that both belong in the lineup more than neither one of them should be just a backup catcher, based upon what we've seen from Fermin this year. So then get what you need. So move one of them or get the first baseman out of the way and get him over to DH, where you can play Salvi there. Like, I'm fine with the way it's been working now.
Right.
But I'm just saying that, like, he is, like, I don't think it's unfair to say he's injury prone. Why is that unfair? Has he been hurt? Yes. Every year he's been up. Like, what the hell does it have to be? What do you have to do to not be injury prone? How about play the whole year?
That's true. I will say this, and you can talk about the instincts. That's true. But I think even a good first baseman could have got caught putting his hand in the cookie jar there.
I think they could, but I think good ones, like we were talking about, like an outfielder reading the ball as the swing is coming, they're taking a step.
Right.
Right? Like he does not react with the throw. It's like, oh, the ball's in the air, now I'm moving up there. I talked about it with Mike Sweeney.